took place last weekend in Seaside High. York Robotics had a really good match, and we made it to the finals for the very first time. And the team will be having another competition in San Jose next weekend, so if you guys can make it, that would be awesome. And we'll be competing with teams from all over the world. I'm just excited. Excitement, anxiety, pressure, relief. It all rushed to my head at once when I realized what I was about to do. My computer screen glowed as I stared at the 11 lengthy tracks I had created the summer of my freshman year, anxious to release it to the world. After 7 months of hard work and preparation, I had planned to release an album on October 6, 11:59, the minute before my birthday. Up to this point, many people didn't know about the project. I had only mentioned it once, wanting the project to stand on its own. My heart raced as the clock ticked away, slowly approaching the time when I would have to press upload. As the clock struck 11:59, I clicked upload without hesitation. The computer began to process the audio files, and I immediately closed my computer and went to bed. I didn't want to see the reactions from people right away. I closed my eyes that night knowing I had just launched off a career that would change my life forever. I've always had very high expectations for myself, but the summer of 8th grade, it had reached an extreme. While trying to balance academics, sports, Neola, and my social life, I put an immense amount of pressure on myself. Soon enough, I couldn't handle all the anxiety and stress on my own. With no one to fall back on, I felt as if I had plummeted into a dark place in my mind. During this time, I began to constantly find myself inside the darkness of my room, staring at the glow of my computer screen, with the only comforting factor being the plugged-in earpods I had that were playing music. Slowly through the night, the buzz of the calming music continued to fill my ears and desensitize my panicking thoughts. The more I listened to music, the more I began to feel the soothing sensation of comfort it was giving me. Making music had much more of an effect than just listening. It deliberately put my constant feeling of anxiety at ease. After hours of constant music production, my thoughts were soon rid of all the darkness that had once filled them. I felt as if I had been mentally revived from the dark spot I was in. After this first experience, I became dependent on the fact that whenever I was in a bad situation in my life, music would be my helping hand. I began to think of music almost like a life support, and I still feel that way to this day. Even through the constant struggles and self-doubts, I still believe that music will continue to lift me up and thrust me forward throughout life. Thank you.
First week, but some great stuff. The robotics competition was pretty amazing. I hope all of you got a chance to go and see some of that. Big shout out to the robotics team and our esteemed leader, Dr. Hannah. Just so people realize what a gem we have in this guy. He's here till very long hours of the night, leading the charge down there with the students working night after night. So I hope that everyone appreciates that. Make sure to give him a big shout out when you see him personally as well. Just a little wrap up of winter sports. We're now into spring sports. I just want to give a little recognition to the All League, and we're now in the Pacific Coast Athletic League. And so we had some All League recognitions for the 3 teams that we fielded in the winter. For girls soccer, Cynthia Ortiz Naranjo, Sammy Smock, and Sophie Rasmussen were all recognized for All League honors for girls soccer. Give them a hand, please. Soletto and Kevin Deliri. Edwin Gao and Alex Shee. Give them a round. Just as this spring season has started, last week we had a golf match, and we had a medalist, which means we had the person who shot the lowest score. And this person is Jara Gomez.
Just wanted to add a couple of things, both appreciation for all the hard work of the robotics team, but particularly, there's a little history to this, to Jara's performance that some of you may know, and we usually feature a story like this at Awards Day. Well, when New York School was turning co-ed in the early 70s, as many of you may know, many institutions, secondary and college and university, were single-sex up until the 60s and early 70s. And when York School had admitted its first females, a couple of them wanted to play on the golf team. And all these golf guys wouldn't have it. So we, the school, put a little pressure on the league, and ACLU got involved, not legally and officially, but got involved. And the next thing you know, there were girls on the golf team. So York School has a great history of co-education, of equal access, and equal respect for women as well as men, as athletes, as scholars, and in every other aspect of school life. So congratulations, Jara, you're part of a great tradition.
The irony is that the guy that's coaching our golf team currently, Ben Mundell, it is his mother and his aunt that were those two women. I don't know.
Among the many things we get to do at break, recognizing student achievement, and is that I'll always love the opportunity to introduce a guest to the school. So, Paul, come on. This is my longtime friend, Paul Irwin. I've known Paul longer than any of my current close friends, known him even longer than my bride and partner. And I just want to say this one thing. You know that if I'm going to make an announcement, I'm likely to use the word community. Okay, so here's part of the reason. One of the reasons is that this distinctive York community is so much a part of who we are as a school. If it's not the distinguishing factor of York's identity, it certainly is top 1 or 2 or 3. But also, just on a personal note, because I had been, as a young man, in search of this elusive idea of belonging to a community, and I came to realize that community is based in relationships. When I went off to college, one of the first people that I met was Paul. We were both not even 18 years old yet. We had a number of things in common. One of us that we loved music. He plays music, I love music. But another thing was just a life circumstance. We were both watching our families of origin disintegrate through divorce and a lot of unpleasantness. We were far away from some of the pain and yet far away from the ability to deal with it. It was very frustrating. We had a lot of long night chats about that. But one of the things that you've heard me say repeatedly, and this is part of this community thing, is that cognitive neuroscience, social science, every kind of research I've ever seen says that happiness, well-being, into adulthood and on and through your life has more than any other factor, not your SAT scores or where you go to college or what your job is, but more than any other factor, you're having meaningful, supportive relationships. So for over 40 years, This is my oldest meaningful supportive relationship.
Hey, good morning. In addition to all the other cool stuff happening this weekend, Friday night was the talent show. Yeah. You may know that as faculty members, we have the great privilege of acting as chaperones for a couple of student things over the course of the year, dances and field trips and that sort of thing. When I signed up to look after the talent show, my thinking was really clear and simple. Anything is better than a dance. But I think when I wasn't prepared for the level of commitment and professionalism and talent and hard work that obviously goes into each of those things, and maybe even more than any of those things, just the sheer bravery of standing up and doing your thing, and if things don't go perfectly, then maybe opening yourself up to criticism or critique. Right, Jerry? They crushed it. So before we get to, you were all brave, you were all wonderful. Not all of you were winners. But before we get to the winners, and we do have some real prizes, just a round of applause for everybody who stood up.
And also applaud Executive Council for organizing, Andrew Simpson. Vincent. Best duet, Campbell Walker and on their heels and joining them are for best group, the acapella group. So that's, come on, Andrew, Tristan, and Sophie. And then there was this performance that we could not give an award to. She just really brought down the house. Crowd Pleaser Award goes to Savannah Abbott for We Will Rock You.
Now we have prizes for the rest of that acapella group, even if you won for something else. So, get them for me, Tristan. I have one for you, Elena, Sophie. No, grab them for me on the way out. Congrats, guys.
It was a great night.